Hi everyone, I'm your IELTS tutor Jack, and today I'm very lucky to be joined by Becky, my IELTS student. She's going to do a mock test with me today, so we'll start this video by seeing the whole mock test, and then I'm going to come back at the end to give you my feedback and her result. So let's get straight into Becky's test.
Hi.
Hi. So obviously this is a mock test,
Yep.
So I won't go through things to do with ID, but I will start off, what's your name?
My name is Becky Park.
Becky Park, and what can I call you, Becky?
Yes, please.
Becky?
Yes.
Okay. Becky, are you working or are you a student?
I currently work as a stage manager or concert organizer.
Do you like your job?
Yes, I used to like my job, but due to the COVID virus, I don't have many, concerts or events compared to previous time. So these days, I'm more focused on creating new type of content, such as videos or clips or live streaming, which is also interesting to me.
I'm going to start by talking about hometown.
Yep.
What kind of place is your hometown?
I live in a capital city, and which is very crowded, and there are diverse jobs and people and culture as well. So I quite like it.
What's the most interesting part of your town?
I think in my town there is a specific street which called Food Street, and there are many diverse restaurants gathering together, and most of the restaurants open 24 hours, so I can visit there whenever I want and I can buy any kind of food, so I quite like it.
Good. What kind of jobs do people do in your town?
As I mentioned before, it's a crowded city, so there are diverse workplace and diverse jobs. But these days, I think there are an increasing need of delivery force. So many people work as a delivery man and woman, and people tend to order food at home. So delivery work is mainly increasing in the cities.
I'd like to move on to talk about accommodation. Can you tell me about the kind of accommodation you live in?
I currently live in a multiplex house, which called villa in Korea, but literally it's not a villa as people think, but we just call it villa. And it's a small flat, and there are 6 or 7 families living in one building.
How long have you lived there?
I've been living there for about 3 years, and I plan to move out because I have a dogs and cats, and the building owner doesn't really like it, so we plan to move out soon.
What do you like about living there?
It's really easy to commute to my workplace because it's located in the middle of the city, and also it has even though it's a small flat, it has an elevator, and our house is on the 4th floor, which is quite comfortable.
Good. And finally, ideally, what kind of accommodation would you like to move to?
I had a dream to live in a countryside, but the more I focus on my work, the more I realized that I'm a kind of person, city kind of person. So I quite enjoy living in a, cultural, diverse and entertainment in the city. So I quite like living in the city. I just want a bigger place for my cats and dogs.
Good. Okay. Well, that's part 1 finished, and we'll move on to part 2 now. So in part 2, I'm going to give you your question and give you 1 minute to prepare.
Yes.
When you've finished, you'll have 2 minutes to answer the question. So we'll start. Here is your question, and here's a pen. You can make any notes you want. So I'm going to give you 1 minute starting now. Okay, Becky, your 1 minute is up.
Yes.
So please describe something you own which is very important to you.
I currently spend most of my time with iPad, so it becomes really important to me these days. My husband gave it to me for my birthday gift because I kept asking him to buy it for me. So finally he took me to the Apple store and we bought it. And it's really useful these days because I work at home these days and I spend more time working with it, and I think it's really good. It gave me a good access to my schedule, and also I can do my online meeting with it. And it's really easy to take a note when I had a meeting or when I took a class as well. So yeah, it's pretty good to use it for my work. And also, when I spend my free time, I really like taking some hobby classes, such as drawing or painting, and it's a really good tool for me to make some small pictures or drawings or writings. And also it's perfect machine for reading a book. I don't need to buy heavy books anymore, and I can put all of my favorite books in that machine. And also I can watch Netflix lying down on my bed, which is I like the most.
Okay. Just one more follow-up question then. Your time's run out now. Do you think you use that iPad more than your phone?
Just compared to the time that I used, I can say that I'm using phone more time than the iPhone, but than the iPad. But if I say about the efficiency or usefulness, then I definitely say iPad is more useful.
Good. We're going to move on to part 3 now. And we'll start by talking about people's values. Firstly, what kind of things give status to people in your country?
I reckon under this capitalistic world, expensive cars and houses can give a social state for people. And I think it's the same in my country as well.
Has it always been the same, or were different possessions thought of as valuable in the past?
In Korea, I think having a house is, has a lot of value, future value, because we are suffering from the lack of house. So having a house has a continued value, but in terms of having a gold or some specific product, then I think, yeah, if the time passed or if there is some financial issues, then those values can be fluctuating.
Why do you think people need to show their status in society?
I reckon everyone has everyone has the hope that they want to be treated as important people. So if they have some kind of valuable product or valuable thing, such as houses and cars and expensive stuff, then other people can consider them as an important guys and important women. So I just think that they enjoy it.
Okay, I'm going to move on to advertising. Do you think advertising influences what people buy?
Yes, of course. Because these days there are too many products and too many stuff. So sometimes I forgot to, I don't know what to buy, even though I have to buy one of those. But if I saw a good made product, a good made, PR contents, then I think I might be willing to buy it.
Do advertisements encourage people to buy things they may not need?
I'm not sure what other people do, but from my own experience, when I sat down and opened my laptop and I just saw some pop-up menu about some good, cosmetic or good clothes, then I find myself just clicking it and buying it.
Good. What are the differences in advertisements on television and those in magazines?
I think advertisements on television can give us more like active image that I can see how to use it or how to handle that machine for my life, so I can get a clear view. But the advertisement on the magazine, I can get a details information or product introduction, but I don't know how to put it in my life. I couldn't get a clear image. So when I buy some products, I probably use both of them. I watch the TV commercial first, and then I try to look it up on the magazines or some papers.
Good. And what sort of advertisements have a deeper impact on people?
These days I've read an article about the big data, and they just sort all the data and give some specific product, advertisement to the people who are willing to buy it, based on the data that the people, the one did, click or looked it up before, which is a bit scary. But I think it's also useful for someone who doesn't have enough time to buy something, or who doesn't want to think a lot about what to buy. So there must be some pros and cons.
Good. Well done. I'm going to stop it there. So Congratulations, you finished.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Fantastic job there by Becky. Well done. So let's go through her scorecard, and then I'm going to go in depth on all the areas of her speaking. So I gave her the following score. Fluency and coherence, 7. Lexical resource, 7. Grammatical range and accuracy, 7. And then finally, her pronunciation, I gave her a 7.5, and that means her overall score is a 7.0. Now let me give you some notes on each section, what she did right and wrong, and then hopefully you can learn from her test results. So in fluency and coherence, I gave her a 7, and her strength was that she spoke at length. She gave nice long answers, particularly early on, but I would say that regarding length, her part 2, she finished a little early, and part 3, some of the answers were a bit short. I always tell my students aim for around a minute. Another strength was that she used a nice range of discourse markers. For example, as I mentioned before, that one came up. So that really helped her fluency score, but there was a couple of weaknesses as well. As I said, although she spoke at length, some of her answers were a bit short. I'd like them to be a bit longer. Also, there was some language-related hesitation and repetition. Now, what do I mean by language-related hesitation? This means she hesitates because she doesn't know what grammar or vocabulary to use. It's related to her level in English. Now, I sometimes hesitate. I very often hesitate actually, but that's not because I'm searching for the right grammar or vocabulary. It's because I'm thinking of the content I want to use. So people with a higher fluency rating would have more content-related hesitation rather than language-related hesitation. That's something really important to think about yourself when you hear your answers and judging whether you are hesitating or not. In lexical resource, she had quite a strong range of vocabulary. There were some interesting words came up. For example, capitalistic was an interesting one. And also I felt that she used quite a lot of topic-specific vocabulary. You know, we talked about buildings and her home, and she seemed to know quite a lot of topic-specific vocabulary, so that helped her score. On the other hand, she did have some accuracy errors. Good made instead of well made. That was a mistake. So I think a 7 is fair in this section, and probably the best way to raise that to an 8 would be with a bit more diversity of vocabulary and a few more higher level vocabulary. Grammatical range and accuracy was a really interesting one because she had very strong positives, but some quite weak negatives. So that's why it kind of balanced out as a 7. On the positive side, she had wonderful diversity of grammar structures. For example, the more I verb, the more I verb. I find myself verbing. You know, these kind of structures really add to the way she expresses herself through language. However, on the other hand, she had quite a lot of inaccuracies. There were some problems with plural and the passive voice. You know, she said which called, whereas you should say which is called. Probably the most serious thing for me was when she talked about the past in part 2, she was mixing between the past and present tense, but it was very confusing for me. It wasn't on purpose. I think it was her mistake, and therefore I was confused as to which tense she's actually referring to. Is it a past story or is it something generally? Finally, her strongest section was pronunciation. Now, I gave her a 7.5, but I could understand some people would argue that she got an 8.0. I'm going to stick with a 7.5. She had a very nice British pronunciation, very accurate. Perhaps that's because she's been spending too much time with me. She's also very easy to understand. It's very easy to listen to, so I don't have to strain to hear what she's saying. There were, on the other hand, a few errors. You know, one of the ones that come to my mind is data. She said data, but it should be data, the schwa on the A. So not too serious. There's a few trips, you know, a few pronunciation errors, but not too serious. As I said, 7.5 for this section, but very strong 7.5. So a great job from Becky. She got a 7.0 overall, and I think with just a little extra effort, she could go up to a 7.5 or even an 8. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Obviously, it's a typical IELTS mock test, but I hope by giving you my deep feedback, you at home can think about your own answers and how you can improve and get the level that you want. Also, I love to hear from you, so please let me know what scores you have got in the IELTS speaking or what scores you're hoping to get in your next exam. Remember, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel because there's plenty more content like this coming in the future. I hope you have a wonderful week this week and I'll see you very soon.